Nero's rage once burned Rome to ashes. The idea I will share at the end of this changed how the most powerful man in history faced every single day. Seneca, the Stoic philosopher, was no stranger to the destructive power of anger. As a tutor to Nero, he witnessed firsthand the devastating consequences of unchecked anger. Despite being a member of the imperial family, Seneca was not immune to the emperor's wrath. He was exiled, recalled, and eventually forced to take his own life. Yet, throughout his life, Seneca wrote extensively on the dangers of anger and how to manage it. He believed that anger is a passion that can be controlled through reason, self-awareness, and practice. In his letters and essays, Seneca shared his insights on the nature of anger, its causes, and its consequences. He argued that anger is a form of madness, a temporary loss of reason that can lead to disastrous outcomes. But how can we, like Seneca, develop the wisdom to recognize the dangers of anger and take steps to master it? What Marcus Aurelius wrote next in his journal is something most people are afraid to admit. According to Seneca, anger is a two-stage process. The first stage is the initial impulse, a natural response to a perceived threat or injustice. The second stage is the voluntary decision to act on that impulse, to surrender to our anger and let it guide our actions. Seneca argued that it's in this second stage that we have the power to choose, to decide whether to let our anger consume us or to take a step back and reflect on our emotions. He wrote, "The first blow is mine, the second is yours." In other words, the initial impulse is beyond our control, but the decision to act on it is ours alone. Seneca also believed that our environment and upbringing play a significant role in shaping our anger. He noted that we are often taught to admire and emulate angry behavior, to see it as a sign of strength and courage. But this, he argued, is a misguided notion. True strength lies not in the ability to express anger, but in the ability to control it. The next lesson is the one Seneca considered the hardest, and the most necessary. So, how can we apply Seneca's insights to our own lives? How can we develop the self-awareness and reason to recognize the dangers of anger and take steps to master it? One approach is to practice mindfulness, to become more aware of our thoughts and emotions in the present moment. This can help us to recognize the early warning signs of anger, to catch ourselves before we surrender to our impulses. Another approach is to reframe our thinking, to challenge our assumptions and biases that contribute to our anger. Seneca also recommended practicing empathy and compassion, putting ourselves in others' shoes and trying to understand their perspectives. By doing so, we can begin to see that our anger is often misplaced, that it's directed at the wrong targets or fueled by misunderstandings. What comes next is the practice the Stoics hid from most people. But how can we put these principles into practice? How can we transform our understanding of anger into real change in our lives? One strategy is to develop a premeditation routine, a set of practices that help us to prepare for challenging situations and to manage our emotions in the heat of the moment. This might include activities like meditation, journaling, or physical exercise. Another approach is to seek out role models, people who embody the qualities of emotional intelligence and self-control that we aspire to. We can learn from their experiences, study their strategies, and incorporate their insights into our own lives. Finally, we can practice self-compassion, treating ourselves with kindness and understanding when we make mistakes or lose our temper. By acknowledging our imperfections and limitations, we can begin to develop a more realistic and compassionate understanding of ourselves and others. In conclusion, Seneca's wisdom on anger offers us a powerful framework for understanding and managing this complex emotion. By recognizing the dangers of anger, developing self-awareness and reason, and practicing mindfulness and empathy, we can begin to master our anger and live more fulfilling lives. The idea I shared at the beginning of this video, the one that changed how the most powerful man in history faced every single day, is this: anger is a choice. We can choose to surrender to our impulses, or we can choose to take a step back, reflect on our emotions, and act with wisdom and compassion. If you want to learn more about Stoic wisdom and how to apply it to your life, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. The quotes that inspired this video are, "The greatest glory in living lies not in never falling, but in rising every time we fall. The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. You can't go back and change the beginning, but you can start where you are and change the ending. The obstacle is the path, the best way out is always through. The biggest adventure you can take is to live the life of your dreams." If these words gave you strength today, subscribe. New Stoic wisdom every single day. The best is yet to come.